Hello, friends. So today we're going to talk a little bit about middlewares in ASP.NET Core. So middlewares, as the name suggests, is, as you can imagine, something which sits in the middle. Okay. Now, as per Microsoft's own definition, middleware is a C# class which can handle and process HTTP requests and responses that it receives. So in ASP.NET Core, we have web APIs and we have web applications. And as you can imagine, these originate, the way it works is a user or a client program sends a request to the web API, okay? And it does some processing and sends a response back. But the origin of this API request, HTTP request, is from the user, and it has to pass through different middlewares which can do various things. So it can either modify this request, it can read the header and add some authentication. So then it becomes an authentication middleware. It can use it for doing some sort of logging, then it becomes a logging middleware. It can do, most importantly, it can do exception handling in a centralized way. Then it becomes exception handler, error handling middleware. It can do various things. So that's what the definition of middleware is in Microsoft, as per Microsoft. Okay. Now I'll give you a little. That's the definition. I'll give you a little block diagram overview, and then we will do a small demo using a web API which I have got. So this is the user, a sensor request. It goes through Swagger middleware. It goes through controller, mapping middleware, authentication middleware, and finally it reaches the API controller. And as you can imagine, in each controller, you can have many multiple number of action methods, which does the processing. So when a request starts from here, the user, and it eventually reaches the action method, which does processing, and then it sends the response back. So that's a request journey, and this is the response journey reverse. And along the way, middleware sit, which can do various processing, logging, error handling, authentication, various things it can do. Okay. So that's the short overview of middlewares. I'll give you a small example using uh, an API which is running on my machine. So if you bear with me, yeah. So here we have an API. What it does is you put in a country name and it gives you some information about the country. So for example, if you put France and hit execute, it will give you some information about France, like capital, currency, language. So, okay. But if you put a incorrect, for example, blah, uh, see what happens then. So an exception is generated in the code. Moving on. And here we have a full long stack trace. So this is not good for two reasons. One is, A, it sends too much information, call stacks. And second, uh, it is not useful for a normal user. All this is too much technical jargon, which they cannot make any sense out of it. And even if we have to write as a coders, we have to look deeper to see where it happened, what it happened, all that. So this is not very graceful, this is not very user friendly. Now we will implement, or we will activate the middleware, which I've already written. Just to give you a heads up, this is not a deep dive into implementation of the code of middlewares. That is for the next session. This is just a demo of with and without middlewares. Okay. So this middleware is for exception handling. And if you see, if I run this once again, wait for it to get ready. I think it's ready now. Let's refresh. Okay. And now if you write the same invalid country, see what happens now. Exception generated in deep down. And now we have a very, very clean, user-friendly, gracious error message for the user. So this can be easily rendered on the user website or the client web application, which connects to this API. And it's easy. It's easy to understand. It's user-friendly, as I said, and it's more important, it's clean. How we implement it is by just few lines of middleware code. So what it does is centralizing the exception handling in a one place only. So we don't have to go about writing so many try catch blocks in each and every action methods throughout the application that we have. So that's a brief overview of middleware and how it works and the benefits of it. In the next session, I will show you a deep implementation, a deep dive of the code implementation of this. Okay. Thank you very much for your time.